Check out the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennedymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
After a divorce, and after the passing, untimely passing of my father. So that's how I became a writer. And, here I am.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
You're on mute.
I'm so sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, you were doing all that talking, I couldn't hear a thing you're saying.
I'm all discombobulated. Welcome to Conversations with Trent and Friends, featuring Coach Dee. Good stuff. She's added another hot spice to the Gumbo Pot this evening. Topic: are you tuning into reality TV to tune out your own mess? Let's be honest. A ton of folks love some drama. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so here's the thing. People like mess if it's somebody else's mess, because it allows them to avoid their own. And we all got mess. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I see people talking about like the Housewives of Potomac, which is popular down here because it's local, right? And I'd be like, ma'am, I don't know why you're talking about that mess. You got this all kind of mess going on here yourself.
Yeah. Why do you think we're addicted to drama?
Cognitive dissonance most of the time.
One more time.
Cognitive dissonance. We like to pretend that what's happening is not really happening.
Right.
We like to play the ostrich, put our head in the sand.
Right. So pretty much that's an escape. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about I don't know about a ton of folks, but for me personally, reality TV turns me completely off. And people that watch it, I have friends that watch this stuff, and I'm like, why you do that? I mean, you could be doing something constructive. Not judging, it's just not my thing. Like, I get irritated on fighting and people just back and forth bickering and all that foolishness. I hate confusion. And that,
No,
to me, in my opinion, reality TV is a bunch of confusion.
yeah, I don't really watch that much TV because Mr. Xavier has control of the remote most of the time to watch
Right.
his game fault playthroughs. But here's the thing: it's sometimes you just need an escape.
Yeah.
So television is escape for some people to forget about their problems and their worries, to sit back and relax. Even I will find something that's completely meaningless, so I don't have to think.
Right. What I find in most cases, in my opinion, I think a ton of people draw into that to mute their lives and
Mhm.
to mute what's going on in their lives at that moment.
Yeah,
But I mean, looking at somebody else's pain never made me forget anything. That pain's still there.
yeah, it's trauma porn. That's what I call it.
That's what you call the
What,
trauma porn?
what, watching people hurt other people. Yeah,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
I think people have been so disconnected as a society that we don't
Right.
always connect when we
Right.
see what's happening. Because for some people, it's just a TV show. Yes, a lot of it is scripted
Right.
to make it a lot more spicy
Juicy.
than it
Yeah.
really is, right?
Yeah.
But it's misery loves company.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the old
Couldn't
saying.
agree more.
You want to know there's other people out there just as miserable as you are.
Exactly.
We all complain about the person who's always perky happy. Like, why are they
Exactly.
always happy? There's got to be something going on. Right? When you're not healed, that's
And
what you complain about.
what's so funny, man? People always look for the bad side of stuff.
Hmm.
For example, right? With with everything that I've gone through, I noticed that more people are trying to more in tune to what I had going on as far as when I was in that wheelchair. All eyes was on me.
Hmm.
There's no more wheelchair. There's nothing else to see. There's nothing else
Yeah.
to see here, folks. So I just find that weird because I never got off on somebody's downfall or gawed at it or looked at, oh, look at that. That's just never
Yeah.
been me.
I'm not a I'm not like that either. I prefer to see the good in people and
Exactly.
see the what they have the ability to do
Right.
and where they can go with the right guidance. Because
Exactly.
it's very easy to get very jaded and judgmental in our business,
Absolutely.
right? And it's
Absolutely.
harder to stay on an even keel and maintain your heart
That's right.
with other, like, and I don't mean like your heart with other people, but like just your
Yeah, I
heart
know what you mean.
itself, your own soul,
Yeah,
because we see so much BS a lot of the time.
exactly. But we dig a little deeper. Let's say hello to the good folks.
Yeah. Miss Tammy's with us. What's going on, great people? Nice to see you,
Hey,
Miss Tammy.
Tammy. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, like I said, so why? I mean, I know why, but I'm asking for the audience.
Mhm.
Why are we so drawn into the trauma thing, the hurt of things, and seeing people struggle? Why we
The
love
mess.
to see people get egg on their face?
Yeah. I think for some, it's all about they don't like that person, or they don't like something about that person, and
Right.
they relish to see them fall or to
Right.
see them hurting or whatever they, you know,
Going
like
through. Right.
I wouldn't wish some things on my worst enemies, but I would
Exactly.
hope that they would see their wrongs and do it right and
And
correct
do
them.
do better. Right. Do
Yeah.
better. Little do they know, karma is real.
No, the word karma is overused.
I understand what you're saying, but the universe will circle some things.
Yeah, the universe will eventually sort it out. So whatever.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
not too worried about it. Slash
Not
has
at all.
joined us. Grand Rising Melanated people. Greetings, Princess Coach D and Mr. Epic.
What
Nice
up,
to have those
Slash?
with us. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good
Well,
stuff. Good
here's
stuff.
the thing. I posted pictures on Facebook yesterday about we went cow cuddling, right? Had a fabulous time. I actually had people, all my friends, just message me and ask me why I would do that. I'm like, one, it was a fun time. We got to cuddle
Right.
little baby bulls and horses, And two, we were going because Xavier has anxiety. Xavier slept through the night for the first time since he was born.
Wow.
For the first time ever, he slept through the night.
What issue? Why did they take issue with it?
They just thought it was a white people thing.
I don't believe. I had a conversation on yesterday with Michael, my good friend Michael out of Atlanta, and we got to talk, and then we're talking about some different things. And he said, us as Black people, we want to so bad be like our counterparts. And he mentioned a dog, right, living in the house. And he said, like we never used to do that growing up. I said, I don't know about your household, but my dog always was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know about your dog, but my dog was always in the house.
Yeah, I had cats that were inside.
Exactly. So, but my whole point is, I never understood that. Being like white people, I never understood that. Nah, that's a trend thing. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's a trauma response.
Do tell, dig a little deeper.
So here's the thing: slavery and colonization did an amazing number on Black folks and Indigenous folks, and every country they colonized, because we left here in America, we were forced out of our traditions, our religions, our languages, all that stuff.
Right.
Except for the Gullah Geechee, they still have most of their language and some of their traditions.
Right.
But the whole being like white people is like, we were the educators. We weren't slaves. We were teachers.
Finally, somebody said thank you.
Basket weavers and poets and
farmers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's racism that makes us think that we are not like white people.
Ourselves, like we're not like ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we're not like ourselves. Yeah. I get it.
It's interesting because some historian came out and he goes, "Oh yes, the oral histories in Africa are true." I'm like, really? No kidding. You needed to do a study to tell people that? We already knew that. That's like when you talk to people, Black history started before slavery. It didn't start with the ships coming across. They don't talk about the black guide the Vikings had when they went to North America in 1000. They don't talk about that.
Of course, it's not going to be in your school books, ladies and gentlemen.
White people are still trying to figure out who built the pyramids.
Exactly.
So let's get people of color.
I knew if I mentioned that you was going to go on a tangent, but
that annoys me so much. Like, why do you talk like a white person? I'm like, we created languages.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The Moors taught Europeans how to bathe when they're still living in caves. When they're ruling for 400 years. People don't know that history. Oh, Tammy got that. Sorry. Okay, let's get back on topic. Tammy got a big long comment. Let me get back on topic. I
already know. I was like, oh shit. That
will throw me right off. Tammy says, most people are avoiding their reality. Many are disconnected from their truth and are lying to themselves. They watch reality shows perhaps to validate their lies, their greatest lies, and the lies we tell ourselves. We know they are lies, but have justified believing them. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
That's it. Show's over. Tammy summed it all up for us. That's exactly
good
it.
Stuff. That's it. That is actually it.
Yeah.
And I just, and for years, man, ever since this thing became popular, I would ask my friends. I still ask my friends to this day, like, why are you watching that bullshit?
Yeah.
To me, it's a distraction. It's a complete distraction. And for women, yeah, I'm going to say for women, because most of those shows are catered to women. Okay. My thing is that is not the proper way to act.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like always catty, always against each other. That's crazy to me.
Like, the only reality show I really liked was Amazing Race and Canada's Worst Driver.
Because you have an end goal.
Yeah. And Canada's Worst Driver because they are just absolutely horrific drivers.
There's an end goal. Yeah. And even I have some friends who in corporate America, some upward, closer executives type stuff. They love those shows. I'm like, girls are crazy, man.
Oh yeah, I know some of the people who've been on the show. I'm like, and they're like, oh, they're not really like that. It's all scripted. I'm like, man, why do you even participate in that? And she goes, because the money's good. I'm like,
Exactly. But that says a lot about folks, man. It says, I mean, I truly believe in whatever you watch, that's what you are. Whatever you indulge in, that's exactly who you are.
yeah.
A lot of us camouflage it. We'll hide it, but you're a little ratchet. I guarantee you, there's a little ratchet in you. Let's keep it a buck.
Nothing wrong with being a little bit ratchet. Everybody can be a little ratchet. We can all be a little bit hood.
Yeah, what? There's nothing wrong with being a little hood, but come on.
Yeah, but you know, it's interesting because a lot of times you'd be shocked by who likes those shows.
Exactly.
Because it's not the demographic that most people think.
Exactly.
You know? So
I have a friend. If you watch the social media site, if you watch everything she does, work related, everything, you would not think that she indulges. She just eats it up.
Mm-hmm.
She sets a certain amount of time aside to watch these shows.
Yeah.
Ratchet as hell.
I have a friend who watches it solely for the clothing. to see what outfits they're putting together.
Right.
Because that's her thing. So she's like, okay, she's a wannabe stylist, so she's working on it. So she like watches these shows, see what outfits they're putting together, and I'm like, well, it makes sense.
Yeah, I get it, but hey.
Yeah, but it's interesting. But people, as much as I love people, sometimes I think some people just need to like take a seat, take a deep breath, and reevaluate their lives.
Dig a little deep. I see where you're going with this.
Well, because they're so fixated on all this negativity that they're not allowing any positivity in.
Exactly.
Because they're like constantly exuding negative energy.
Exactly.
And it's like, come on, you got all this good stuff going. And they're like, yeah, but I could have this going. I'm like, yeah, you'll get there. Enjoy what you have while you have it. Exactly. And then you can get to the next place.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, right? I have a friend. I'm not going to call their names or anything like that. They're going through a tumultuous time right now. Like, the terrain's a little rough right now. Mm-hmm. And like I told him, I said, I truly believe you guys are going, getting into it day in and day out because of what are you feeding yourselves? And you're sitting there watching that shit with her.
Yeah. And
some of the stuff that he tells me, she's repeating stuff from the shows. Mm-hmm. About it. I mean, all types of stuff. Anything she doesn't even realize she's picking this shit up.
Yeah.
And gives them, oh, you're emotionally unavailable. And she's never talked to him like that in over 25 years. Mm. Come on, man. Like I said, and you sit there, you're indulging in this shit with her. That's what a problem is. Yeah. Turn the TV off and have a conversation.
Or find a better show.
Exactly.
Turn on Idanya.
Exactly.
I could never say her name. She'll pick you up, right?
a wonderful couple, man. I love them to death. Yeah. Love them to life. A wonderful couple, but I think, me personally, I truly believe that they feed themselves superficial shit.
Yeah, well, you are what you surround yourself by.
Exactly.
Right. So if you're surrounding yourself by negative people, like everybody has a friend at one time that they just avoided this friend because they would just drag their energy out.
Exactly. Okay? And now he's at the point to where the rose-colored glasses are coming off. Mm-hmm. They're still on her.
Right.
But the rose-colored glasses are coming off of him. But like I told him, hey, man, you got to take personal responsibility for letting that beast loose. Come on, man. Let's keep it a buck. She didn't do it by herself.
Yeah. Can you bring Slash's comment up?
Sure.
He said, unscripted, fake scripted is acceptable, degrading, divide, and conquer for the pleasure of the folks that watch. Turn around and criticize the folks on those shows.
Get it. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I get it. Definitely get it. So it's actually, it's definitely, I totally agree. It's made up drama. Definitely made up drama. But the folks that are tuned into it, they don't even realize it. They don't realize, like Slash knows this. I know he knows this because he was in entertainment business for years. Mm-hmm. All the stuff that you see on that television is rented items. They're leased. all the way down to the cars, the homes, the clothes. All that stuff is leased items.
Yeah.
But you would swear
nothing is
that person
real.
has exactly. You would swear, oh, she's wealthy, $5 million in the bank. Yeah, okay. She's got a salary, probably getting like $2,000 an episode for reality stuff.
And then meanwhile, in the local news here, they're talking about how they're foreclosing on their house.
Exactly. There you go. There's just my point. So a lot of people get caught up in all these superficial things, man, and not even realizing this stuff belongs to the studio. Who's ever producing those shows to go on to air and all that stuff, they get a budget for that.
Yeah.
There's a budget for clothing, and then how the budgets work with television. Just like when we used to do these video shoots and all that stuff, right? We had a budget for that stuff. And within our budget, it was for our stylists to go out and get the clothes. When we were done with the video shoot, guess what? Those clothes had to go back, or we negotiate a budget to get the clothes and we take them on with us.
Yeah.
But that's budgets for all that stuff, man. And most of it is for rentals.
Yeah, it's and people aren't as wealthy as they look.
Exactly.
What there was, I remember back in the 2000 when the music groups, I want to say TLC, said they were touring and they were still broke.
Yeah, that was them. Well, there's a ton of people like that,
yeah.
But that one comes to
They did an interview talking about they don't actually make that much money. It just looks like they do.
At all, man. At all.
It's interesting because I was talking to a friend of mine and she says that and this is why people vote this way as well too. She goes, most middle class think they're a couple of paychecks away from becoming a millionaire. And I was like, what? She's like, think about why else would they be constantly voting for tax cuts for the rich? Because they think they're going to get there.
That's true. That's true. Everybody's always looking for the next get up.
Yeah.
That's true. Who said that? She was brilliant.
Yeah, it was just a friend of mine. We were just talking about random stuff, and I was
that's true.
I was like, what? Really? I never thought of it that way. She's like, yeah, think about it. And I'm like,
that's true.
It makes sense.
And when you think about it, man, all this stuff is designed for retail. Everything in this reality, all that stuff, anything that's dealing with television is designed for retail. For you to take your ass out when you sit at Michael Kors bag and you go and buy it because Portia Williams has it.
Yeah.
The fuck out of here. Come on, man.
Slash says, a la MTV Cribs and Mona Scott.
Absolutely. Mona Scott is an executive who actually put a lot of these shows on. Uh-huh. She done got rich off of that bullshit, paying these people pennies.
Oh, well, see, I don't need to watch more TV. I'm good.
Yeah, Mona Scott, she's brilliant in putting this stuff together and making that money. You know, and when you think about it, right? When you talk about television, I got a little, knowledge in that. As far as television, it's for advertising time. Mm-hmm. So she sells the show to the network. The network sells the show to the advertisers. Yep. Say like $1 million a slot.
Yep.
To run a Calgon commercial, all this other bullshit. So she'll get a piece of that, but the studio actually making the money.
Yeah.
So she'll throw down the pennies. Exactly. Yeah. She'll throw down the pennies to the artist. They get $2,000, $3,000 an episode. So if they're getting $2,000 a week, they thinking they got money. Mm-hmm. So if they get 10 episodes, they get money. So they think.
That is true. Because a lot of times they don't come from money. So it's what's this? Money talks, wealth whispers. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So yeah,
exactly.
Because I come from friends who have generational money, and you would never know they have that money.
Exactly. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to. Let's dig a little deeper into your friend's comment, the one you were talking to.
Oh,
now, tell me again what she said.
She said that they think they're a couple of paychecks from being a millionaire. Because the conversation is we were talking about politics, and I told her because we're talking about all the nonsense going on in Florida,
right?
And then I said, well, Puerto Ricans and Cubans voted like 59 or 69%. I can't remember which for DeSantis, and now nobody's working And I was like, she's like, yeah, they don't realize that they're coming for them because they don't think of them as themselves as immigrants.
Exactly.
And that's how we got onto the topic of two paychecks away from being loaded.
Exactly. So, and I'm not knocking anyone who watches these reality shows, but they're just not for me. It's just not for me. And I actually, to be honest with you, I was quite surprised when you brought it up, when you brought the topic up, because I know how you feel about these shows.
Yeah,
I was like, wow. I was like, where's she coming from with this?
What was I watching? Oh, a friend of mine had me watching this Indian matchmaker show. Because, and here was the premise behind it.
Did you get to? First of all, I gotta know this. Did you get to the first season?
I did. It was actually very interesting, but it was interesting not from the drama, but the family dynamics.
I got
and the conversations within. I kind of look at shows a little differently, so it was interesting to see the dynamics of the families and why the people were not married or choosing to get married.
Right.
And then the standards that some people had, and it was interesting that way.
But exactly. Well, Slash has another comment here.
Yeah. Slash says 1 to 4. I can't relate to the negativity energy levels or the low end chakras.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't relate to it. It's just like too much hassle trying to relate to it. I'm like
one of my friends, she said, you're so damn bougie and arrogant. I was like, why? Because I don't want to sit down and watch this damn show with you. Man, it's just not my thing. I don't like seeing women bickering. I don't like them seeing fighting. I don't like the catty stuff. I'm really turned off by that.
There's so many great shows that you could watch.
Exactly.
And educational shows. There's a show that was on Netflix about I forget what the name of it is. Soul Food. It was about where our food came from as Black people originally, and it goes all the way back to Africa.
It's on Netflix.
Yep. I'll pull up the name for it because it should be in my watch list. But it was fascinating.
I'm a Netflix junkie.
It was fascinating to watch. But I like shows like that. I like shows that you learn something from.
Exactly.
Unless I just want something where I don't want to think, and then I'll watch like Bridgerton or Downton Abbey or something like that. What the heck?
But
I will find it while we're talking.
Speaking of shows, I watched on yesterday. I think Jada executive produced it. Queen Cleopatra. I want to do a show on that. Not on that documentary. I really want to do a show on Queen Cleopatra. I want to work that in because I find it quite interesting. A lot of the stuff, started doing some research on it after watching that documentary that Jada put together. And it was cool. It was very knowledgeable, very informative, I should say. It was quite interesting. Quite interesting. I didn't know that she reigned that long.
Yeah. It's there we go. It's called High on the Hog: How African American Cuisine Transformed America.
Okay.
It only had one season. It should have had way more seasons than that.
And it's called High on the Hog?
High on the Hog. It's really good. It talked about the Rice Kingdom, our roots, freedom, all that stuff. There's a lot of
I add it to my list.
There's another one called In Our Mother's Garden.
Okay.
And it talks about Black mothers from across the globe unlock stories of their mothers to redefine holistic lives rooted in radical self-care and healing.
And to be honest, this is going to be a shot, and you're probably going to get pissed off with me for saying this, but those are the type of shows some of these women should be watching. They should be watching that. That's the type of stuff, and maybe their mental will get a little better in all other areas. Watching programs like you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think it's probably more we need therapy. More therapy within the Black community. My favorite word, THERAPY, therapy.
Exactly.
Get it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't say it. Coach D said it. So all hate mail goes to dlayler@gmail.com.
Or d@dlayler.com. Either one. Glad to take your hate mail. Love it. Love hate mail.
Good stuff.
I will kindly tell you about yourself if you misbehave.
Good stuff. So I was talking about Cleopatra, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started doing some research after I watched it. I was very into it. I watched it through, straight through. I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I started doing the research on her and how did she come to power and all this other stuff. And I got to thinking, and this is totally off topic here right now.
Mhm.
I got to thinking, they were talking about the Roman Empire and all that stuff, right? So Google states I started looking at the origin of the Romans
Mhm.
and their nationality, and who are they and where they come from and all that good stuff. Now, as we know, on that side of the earth, ain't nothing but some dog folks over there. Let's keep it a buck. But
People like to pretend that that side of the earth is not as brown as it was back then.
exactly. But but my thing is, and every Cleopatra show that I looked up, it had to do with white folk.
Mhm.
Now, come on, man. Let's keep it a buck. We know on that side of the earth, everything brown and
Well,
purple black. Brown and purple black.
yeah.
Let's keep it a buck.
If you studied the pyramids, and you would know that the Egypt doesn't have the only. It's not the only pyramids. There are pyramids in Sudan,
Exactly.
which is sub-Saharan, and they
And
predate
for other
the
folks,
Egyptian pyramids.
exactly. And for other folks, if you didn't know, there's also pyramids in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's conversations among some that there was a lot of travel um, from Africa and South America back and forth, and Asia.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing: they are known in the history books that the paintings in Egypt on the walls were washed to the light and the colors. And then there was a reason why the Sphinx's nose was shot off.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
there's reasons for all this. Because come on, even 2023, they can't figure out who built the pyramids.
Exactly.
Because there's a whole show on aliens came down and built the pyramids. Like, come on.
Yeah, definitely won't do that.
If
Tell me
Noah can build an ark and float across around the world, black folks can build pyramids.
Absolutely.
Like,
Tammy
even
and
even my stepfather says that Greeks went to Africa to learn math and history.
Absolutely.
Tammy says, interesting definition of reality in psychology. Can you bring up her comment? Because it's blocked on the bottom.
There you go.
She says, interesting definition. Reality in psychology is the ability of the mind to assess the reality of the external world and to act upon it accordingly as opposed to acting according to the pleasure principle. Yeah. So it's, our minds are amazing. Like, did you know that 50% of the population, 30 to 50% of the population does not have an internal monologue in their heads?
Wow.
Like, they do not hear anything. Like, some people, we have entire conversations and hear our voice in our head having the conversation.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I want to dig a little deep in this. So you're saying 30%?
I think it was 30 to 50% I read the other day. Do not have an
of the entire population. That's what you're saying?
The entire population do not have an internal monologue.
I think I got a couple of monologues in me.
It's nothing. I'm like, that's interesting. I find it fascinating.
It is.
I find the human mind fascinating because I think we've so narrowed down what we deem to be normal that anything outside that range is considered divergent. Well, like, I'm dyslexic, so when I read a book, I literally see a movie in my head.
Exactly.
And I can see, like, and my friends love it because I can look at a room and redecorate in 3D in my head.
Exactly.
And people
I think it's in us all.
Yeah.
And I said that 30. I would say that 30% or 50% of the population haven't tapped into their higher self.
I don't think so.
Honestly, I think it's in us all. We just don't know how to get there. We just don't know how to reach it.
I don't know. I think our brains work in amazing ways, and that everybody has different gifts.
To get to that different level, you have to tap into yourself, man. You really do. And I speak on that weekly. Tapping into yourself.
The internal monologue you have from birth, though, there's no tapping into it. It's there.
I get it. But that's a very high number, though, D.
That doesn't surprise me. We only know what 5-10% of how our brain works.
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Mark says,
Oh, yeah, I saw High on the Hog and suggested it to the conversation when it first premiered.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna have
I
to
think
check
that was
that
at
out.
you, sir.
I think he's probably throwing shots at me right now.
Yeah. He's like, I told you about that show.
Yeah, I'm
No,
gonna check that out. I'm gonna check that out.
yeah, it is. It's an interesting show. I enjoyed it immensely. Um, can you bring
One
up
more
Slash?
time. Yeah.
Yeah. The hieroglyphics have been sandblasted to remove melanin. Alexander, not so great, shot the nose off the Sphinx. He is also so great he would never turn down the advances of a woman or man.
You know what? Before we get started, well, I don't know why I started these two, ladies and gentlemen. I got Malcolm X and I got who's the Shabazz lady? What's her name? What's Malcolm's wife's name? D. Do you know Malcolm?
Shabazz?
Yeah. What's her name? What was her name?
Oh my god. You're going to make me think now.
I know. Well, I'm making a point here. So I know bringing up this black thing and putting up the black fist. I start these two and they'll be on a tangent all night. Meaning Slash and Coach D. They'll pull out the black flags and everything. Anything black, they're gonna pull it out.
Oh
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Betty Shabazz. Betty Shabazz. There you go. Slash. He's Dr. Betty Shabazz.
Thank you.
So Dr. Betty Shabazz, aka D, and Malcolm, aka Slash. They love that type of talk.
Listen, man. I I love Malcolm X was right about a lot of stuff, and even the stuff that he would talk about now still is in effect today. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he would talk like there is no freedom. Freedom was never gained peacefully,
absolutely.
right?
I
So
think Tammy's addressing you,
yeah,
D.
she said, "What, Coach D? This is crazy. I have a community. I'm trying to invent a way that I can charge red to my internal dialogue. These people need to catch up." Listen, man. Some of us will have entire conversations with other people and not involve that other person whatsoever.
Absolutely.
You know, and then be mad at that person for the conversation you had in your head.
Exactly. Yeah, I do a
So,
lot of talking to myself. I do a lot of talking to
yeah,
myself. Most of my issues are sorted out in my head
yeah.
before I even say there's a problem. It's just like with this, like what happened with this incident. I sorted a ton of this stuff out in my head. I'm
Hmm.
glad you guys brought that up because I was having a conversation with one of the guys over at the gym. I speak to this focus group at the gym, right?
Right.
So they asked me why I stay so positive. I was like, well, I said, to be honest with you, I don't I don't look at the moments, every monumental moment within the recovery. I already see the outcome.
Right.
I've never focused on the monumental moments. I don't even remember them. I've always focused on the outcome. I see the outcome. I saw myself out of the wheelchair,
Right.
but I talked myself out of that stuff. I talked myself completely out of it. But go ahead.
Well, it's it's. I try to avoid it only because it drains my energy so quickly. Because
But honestly, man, when you engage it, me personally, I believe it's healthy to engage.
I engage, but to a point. If you're constantly always negative, then I will move further away from you. But if it's
God,
like a one time thing, I will help you get through that. I will reach
God,
out and help you with everything I have. But if it's day in, day out, 7 days a week, 365 days for years, then don't expect to see me much longer because it's
I get it.
difficult.
I get it.
What is
Slash says,
what Slash says? It was Al Hooj Malik El Shabazz, aka Brother Malcolm X, born day just yesterday. Happy Life Day to the great elder. So long.
good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Happy born day. Yep.
Oh yeah, there's a good documentary on Netflix about his murder too.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have me up all night and I gotta go to the gym tomorrow, D. So
Yeah.
what's
So
the name of it?
I think it's called Who Killed Malcolm X. If I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. I'm gonna find out. I love Netflix.
Yeah,
Because
that's my
I love documentaries. I like interesting shows. I like
right.
like history.
So you haven't checked out Queen Cleopatra yet?
You know what? I grew up. Yeah, it's called Who Killed Malcolm X. I grew up because my stepdad's Greek, so I
Right.
grew up learning Greek history along with, and I went to school in Canada, so I learned
Gotcha.
world history.
Gotcha.
And what I was taught is so different than what's taught here.
Yeah.
It's amazing the differences in what's taught. And so when people tell me, "Oh, we haven't figured out who," like, what do you mean you haven't figured out who built the pyramids? People here don't even
Right.
know that the Moors ruled for 400 years.
Exactly.
They don't know
I'm
Vikings were in
surprised that a lot of
America.
people did not know that.
Yeah, they didn't know the
The
Vikings
Moors,
were
and you
here.
know, they're still thick. They're still thick to this day.
Yeah, and the Berbers and the travel. I had a lady I was taking a course from that I actually had to stop because I couldn't ethically sit and listen to her anymore. Actually, told me that she believes that people traveled from Ireland south.
What?
Yeah, she believed that people traveled from Ireland south. And I told her, I said, the indigenous Irish looked more like me than they do you.
Exactly.
That's where you get. They were dark skinned, dark hair. I'm like my. I had to laugh because my cousin looks. He's just a lighter skinned version of the indigenous Irish. Like that, his face
Exactly.
looks like the Cheddar Man. And
Right.
it's interesting because there's so much willful ignorance. And I call it willful ignorance because this here has so much information in it now that you're carrying a pocket computer. There's absolutely no reason why you can't
Right.
look something up.
That's true.
Like we have people, like I was watching the news, a guy was asked for a passport because he's come from Puerto Rico. Because people
Huh?
don't know Puerto Rico's not as they're not American. People don't know that Puerto Ricans are American citizens.
Exactly.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. So yeah, so I think less reality shows and more history shows
Thank you.
because I was looking at the curriculum that the far right's trying to push now to get rid of real history, and
They're
it's
trying to kill
scary.
it. They're trying to kill it.
It is
And
absolutely
folks are not
scary.
paying attention to that, man. And now they're doing it state by state.
Mhm.
They doing that shit state by state.
Yeah, they wanted to
State by
talk
state. You
about
gotta be mindful.
slavery in regards to slavery around the world and
Yeah.
indentured servitude, and I'm like, and
Yeah.
slaves were just relocated workers. Relocated workers. I'm like,
When they get paid.
yeah, let's not talk about reparations. People are upset. California's mentioned the word, and everybody's all got their arms up now.
Exactly.
People are like, well, I never owned slaves. I'm like, yeah, but you are still benefiting from it.
Exactly. You know what? I had a conversation. This is funny. I had a conversation with a friend of mine over at the gym again. And we got to talking about the land that the gym sat on. Very nice, plush facility. I mean, real nice. And he said, hey, this used to be Elmwood Plantation, huh? I was like, what are you talking about? He said, this was Elmwood Plantation. This entire land was Elmwood Plantation. Like a ton of stuff was actually done on these grounds.
Yeah.
So I went to doing some digging on it. Now, that entire land is a very high, is high end place over there. In Elmwood, is high end stuff, very high end. So I totally get what you're saying when folks say, well, hey, we didn't have anything to do with that. Well, you're benefiting off of it. You're
Yeah.
still benefiting.
And people like to say, oh,
You're still benefiting off the backs of
yeah,
slaves.
slavery was so long ago. And I'm like,
Yeah, but they still think about it. They still benefiting off the backs of slaves,
oh, yeah.
even with the cotton industry. All in Florida. That's where it was huge.
Mhm.
They still benefiting off of that.
Yeah.
I'm more than sure Florida built Miami. Look what
Mhm.
Miami does in revenue. I guarantee you. Come on, man.
Well, the last child of an enslaved person died at 90 in
Exactly.
2022. 2022.
Ladies
And
and
people are
gentlemen,
like, it was a long time ago. I'm like, this man was alive a year ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're always flipping the conversation. Anytime I bring up black, that's D and
Yeah,
Slash
sorry.
is
You
that's the
started it.
Handy fan. That's the Handy fan.
Slash the killing of Malcolm X, another Malcolm and Ali. Can you bring up Slash's comment? Did y'all hear Princess Harry and maybe Princess Meghan were ran down on like Princess Di and Dodi Fayed, the Egyptian-born film magnate killed in a car crash in Paris on August 31st, 1997?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm Canadian, so I watch the Brits.
Good stuff, Tam. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, she said, gotta run, great people. Yeah, so I watch the British thing. Here's the interesting. TMZ came out on TikTok and talked about the chase and how they were doing 80 on FDR to get away from people. And it was the British news because people do not like the Duchess of Sussex. They do not like Meghan. And I'm like, you know what? This man gave up a crown of his country for him. Right. This is a relationship that people should be wanting. This is goals. Like this man gave up everything and will protect her.
Right.
You know, this is, and I'm like, you know, and then people love to hate her. If you look at TikTok,
I wonder why.
Sir. You and I both know why.
Exactly. So this is why, folks, you should watch more knowledgeable shows, more knowledgeable documentaries, opposed to watching reality TV. You're always going to get something from documentaries and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You want to be in the know, man, instead of being part of some chaotic mess and all that foolishness.
Knowledge is power. And especially with what they're trying to do in the schools, you have to have the knowledge in order to teach your kids. You have to be able to supplement. God love our public school teachers. They are amazing souls. Absolutely. But they fight that they have to do in order to just teach is ridiculous. That's people who can't even, like high school dropouts telling teachers what to do. I'm like, ma'am, you can't even spell dictionary, let alone tell someone what they can have in it. Like, please.
Yeah, I mean, and let's just be fair and honest. You cannot learn anything but the quickest fad that's going on social media from a reality show. You can't get nothing from that. No. There's nothing that's going to feed the brain. There's nothing going to feed you nothing.
Consumerism. That's about it.
That's it. They'll drain your pockets. Have you buying that new Michael Kors bag and all that other stuff? Yeah, it'll definitely drain your pockets, but but knowledge is power, man.
Listen, man, I know people who like. I always tell you, if somebody looks like they're spending a lot of money, they don't got a lot of money.
They broke.
Yeah.
They're broke.
Because the high end names that they don't have labels.
I see you, Slash. I wasn't going to mention that, but we're going to leave that one alone.
Miami. Yeah, the biggest drug dealer is the CIA. That's a whole other conversation about how the CIA and crack in Chicago and Detroit and Baltimore and all the inner cities, New York, and then the war on drugs and oh lordy.
Yeah, it's a different.
And then they'll try to blame it on everybody else. But yeah, it's interesting to watch. There seems to be a lack of an anti-intellectualism.
Right.
That's going on. Like people calling if you're liberal elites if you believe in education. I'm like,
wait. You just put me up on something. Say that one more time.
People are calling others liberal elites if you believe in education.
Is that right?
Yeah, because here's the thing. People forget it was which president was it? It said the easiest way to get the white vote to make them feel better than the poorest black man.
Oh, that's from Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
Lyndon Johnson famously quoted, and a lot of black folk and a lot of white folk, to be honest with you, don't even know that came from him.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was having a conversation with someone, He said the quickest way to get that vote is tell the lowest white man on the poll that he's greater than the smartest black man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's going to pick his pockets and he'll never know it's been picked.
Yeah. I have a good friend named, his name is Bubba. Bubba. Love him to death. He's the readiest redneck you'll ever meet.
Right.
You know, trucks jacked up, all that stuff, eat squirrel, the whole thing. And we were talking about NASCAR and how they had Punisher labels on there. And I'll translate into English for you, but he said, well, don't they know that we don't like the law? Rednecks never liked the law. We've always been fighting, you know? Even the Dukes of Hazzards the song was the law will never get them, but the mountain will.
That was always against the law, yeah.
So he was like, I don't know about these guys with the blue line. That's not us. We don't do that. We don't like them. I was trying to get us for our moonshine and everything, our stacked trucks and everything.
Exactly.
But you know, and he's the first guy. He's like, they just want us all separate so they can
divide and conquer,
do what they want. Yeah, and it's true. It's the easiest way to manage people.
Yeah.
Easiest way to do it is to separate them and put in one group preferred over the other. That's how slaves did. That's how they did it in slavery. Put the house slaves over the field slaves. Look how quickly and easily it divided us. To this day, that we have colorism.
Pretty much.
You know, it's
pretty much.
It works.
Slash one more time.
Slash says there's a very good podcast called Nice White Parents about the New York public school system, how white people manipulated the location and opening of a brand new school. Oh yeah, the Little Inch letter. Yep. Oh yeah, and now it was what was the latest thing? The schools were being segregated. There was too many Asian. The people were complaining there was too many white people were complaining there's too many Asian kids in school or something like that. Something absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, you know.
But you know what that whole thing about, you know, what they're complaining about in the nationalities and all that stuff, and they're outnumbered at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Might as well throw out the white flag, point intended.
The country is getting browner.
Throw out the white flag.
The easiest way to maintain control is to try to take as much power away from everybody else.
Exactly.
But, you know, Gen Z and their feral little siblings, the Gen Alpha, the honey badgers, they aren't going to put up with that. Xavier's generation are brutal, man. They are savages.
Right.
Like, you can't talk to them. They're just, they will interrogate you to get the answer to what's going on.
They will find out. They will find out.
They have emotional intelligence and they have brains, and you know they're going to burn it down. The systems will not survive Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Absolutely. So we got 3 minutes to the hour, folks. As always, we add some different spices to the gumbo pot tonight, which is always wonderful. Because always you learn something. You learn something from these variety of conversations that we just come up with.
See, you got me off topic. It's your own fault. You should know better.
It's my fault. But in a nutshell, my learning point for today is, my teachable moment for today is, you know, sometimes we have to turn the channel, man. Turn that channel and get to something where it's going to feed the brain and not drain you. Because when you're watching these reality shows, at the end of the night, take a moment and tell me exactly how you feel after watching the bickering, the bitterness, and all that stuff. And I don't know about you, but it would drain me. It would definitely drain me. I'd rather feed the brain than something taken away from it.
I always say the same thing. Be careful what you're digesting, and do your research on your information that you're getting. Always do independent research, because you can't just go with it was online or so-and-so said so.
Exactly.
You find other sources and deep into it and use your critical thinking skills. You know, if you have a dirty secret, you like to watch some reality shows for enjoyment, you know, that's fine.
And let me tell you what I get a kick out of with these reality shows, right? I can't remember. I saved the photo, but someone recreated one of my quotes from years ago, right? And it's on a celebrity's face, but it's actually my quote, my stuff. And I started laughing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's some bullshit. But people, they will believe that faster than something that's tangible right in their face.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe, I was like, damn, that's my work.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody took it and put, I forget the actor, some B actor or whatever, and they plastered my quote to the picture, you know, and I saw it, I just chuckled at it and kept on going.
Yeah.
But the people will believe that XYZ actor said that, like, wow, he's so in tune.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you just stole that shit and put it on his face.
Yeah, a lot of times
people believe that.
Yeah, unfortunately, people will believe what they see and not do any research on it.
Thank you.
And you know, I think that's the problem of why we are where we are right now.
Exactly, I totally agree with that.
And then some people like where we are, so you know, because people are like, what was it in Georgia? Everybody's like, oh, I didn't vote for Abbott. I'm like, well, 53% of white women voted for Abbott. So that's 1 and 2. So
one and two, absolutely.
You may not be admitted to it that you did it. It's like people aren't admitting to vote to DeSantis, but he won.
He won, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what you're doing
more than white people voted for him. Let's keep it a buck. More than white people voted for him. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah. It was. I have the numbers for DeSantis on who voted for him. I remember. 1 second, because I like receipts. I like keeping the information. Where is it? Here we go. Oh no, that was. Oh yeah. The labor. At 4 a.m., Republicans in the Irish Senate passed a bill to allow 14-year-olds to work night shifts, 15-year-olds to work assembly lines, and 16-year-olds to serve alcohol.
Boom.
So I thought I had. Here we go. According to exit polls, DeSantis won 65% of white voters, 13% of black voters, and 58% of Latinos. Of the latter group, it was 69% Cubans and 56% Puerto Ricans.
And with that said, it's one after 8 here on Central Standard Time, and this is why you should always tune into Conversation with Trent and Friends featuring Coach D. You're always going to leave with something you didn't come with.
Yeah.
You're always going to leave with something. And it's always something good, always something knowledgeable. Either it's going to come from us or it's going to come from the viewers while we interact with our folks. So right here on the B2G Unity TV network, that's Butterfly Evolution and Taylor Kennedy Media combined for better TV together. We're always going to bring good knowledge in, always, to stir that pot.
Can you save Slash's comment for the next show?
What's that?
Slash says the political topic of the day are to circle the wagons for white people, abortion and immigration, the same United States that allowed the gangs of New York groups to come to America to join unions and take jobs from black folks and Planned Parenthood position in urban areas. To kill.
Okay. That's something you want to talk about on Wednesday?
Yeah, we're not going to get into the Planned Parenthood and eugenics because there's a whole other story behind that. But there's no black babies.
Yeah, we can
and as Tupac says, don't make me quote Tupac. All right. So
it's Gemini season, so go ahead and do it. Good stuff. So we'll talk about the black folks on Wednesday.
All right. School night, good so stuff. I will say good night. I get little man off to bed.
Good stuff.
Great
Talk
rest
to you.
Of the week.
Okay.
Bye.
So you guys, thank you guys for tuning in. D and I really appreciate that. So until next time, next week, well, actually on Wednesday, we'll see you guys at 7. I'll see you guys on Tuesday over there on Tammy's side of things at 7:30 on Tuesday, and then Wednesday for us here at the conversation. Good stuff. You guys have a good night.
Good night.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.